Welcome back to Riding Bikes in San Diego. The fall semester has started, which means I'm back on my commute. And I hate to bore you with the same old routes, but these are the places I go, and this is the conditions I have to deal with, including this merge from Aldine. That driver seemed to reluctantly give me some room there. Um, that's okay. I deal with this every day, and for all the criticism, Fairmount has gotten a bit better with flex posts. A friend of mine texted me and doesn't like the flex post as much because he thinks that there's more debris and it's harder to dodge that debris. And frankly, most of the debris that I've seen lately in these lanes is from actually busted flex posts. But one of the things I wanted to show you now that I am back on this commute is that there are more flex posts. These are all new right here. The buffer's the same. They didn't update that. This buffer has always been really generous, and even though this road is super wide, I tend to go in a reverse commute, so there's more traffic backing up on the other side. And I'll make a separate video about going west. We're going east right now on Montezuma from Fairmount, and we're going to take this to a little over College, but all these flex posts are new, and I've made videos about this before. I'm ambivalent about these. On the one hand, I'm glad that they're here because if a driver does decide to put their car into this bike lane, at least they have some sort of barrier to hopefully help them think twice. Although I can't help but also consider that these are wide enough that a driver could carefully get their car through, only maybe clip it a little bit. Even though all the curb is red, I maintain that bike lanes like this are not designed for people riding bikes as much as they're designed for vehicles to pull over, whether they be broken down or doing some kind of maintenance off to the side here. Maybe, a cop pulling someone over. These are designed so that drivers can still get in them, which means that our safety as people riding bikes is going to be compromised every time. We simply can't compete with gigantic vehicles trying to get into our space. These flex posts, they make us feel better, but often I feel like I'm getting psyched out. I feel like it's a placebo at best. But they're here. Maybe again drivers are somewhat deterred. Maybe they're a little bit afraid that a floppy piece of plastic is going to be a barrier, but as you can see, some are missing. There's one right there on the ground. They put these things in and then they get knocked out, so it only takes one driver putting their car into it. Although, to the credit of the people who installed these, unlike the ones that were installed before the summer began, all four bolts are holding these down. So again, with the impact of a car, not sure how much two more bolts does for it. As we cross Colwood here, we end up in this section which doesn't have any flex posts, and I think that's because, one, there's parking off to the side, but also we have this shared area where a bus stop is, and the bus runs so infrequently, though, that I find that I don't have too much of a problem competing with them at all, and that's okay. But when we get on this stretch right here, this is where flex posts have been and continue to be. And it looks like they've actually been keeping up the maintenance of this area a bit, so these plants are not too overgrown yet. But hopefully they won't encroach. Hopefully crews are keeping up on it, and we'll keep clear. Yeah, actually, you know what? I think there's some new fence work right there, so I think things got cleared up a bit to accommodate that also, which is kind of nice. But we'll skip a little further. We'll go through this. Some of these flex posts have gone missing already. These things are like $150 a pop too. So every time a driver knocks one out, that's the cost of replacement. And I start to think about the math of all this stuff. At some point, the city, I think, just stops paying for it because it was a bad investment. We could have put in something that lasted longer and didn't cost more money over the long run to maintain. This little stretch here is always just comically awful, but this stretch I think needs more thought and design put into it. I think that curb and fence could bump out, and this could be a more functional bike and pedestrian path, kind of like what goes through campus, San Diego State. If we went off to the left and started to wind our way through campus, there are plenty of paths that are both cycling and pedestrian designed beside each other in safe ways. I'm just trying to get up the hill, you know. Wait at this traffic light, and the other new development is that after you get through this little stretch in front of this dormitory building here, new flex posts do start up, and these are all brand new. Never mind that, you know, some drivers drift their way into the buffer. Right about here is where they start up. And there's some new green paint. There's a lot of new red paint also. I want to make sure I address that. There is a lot of new red paint on the curb, which I would say it goes without saying you shouldn't park a car in a bike lane. But once the curb is actually red, I think that's even more of a deterrent for folks who might think about stopping and putting hazard lights on. I can't help but notice that this entire area here, all this housing is fenced off. Makes me wonder what they're doing. I don't know if they're just maintaining something around the perimeter, or if we're getting into some major project that's going to be a thing that takes up space on Montezuma. And I wonder about that because right after we cross College here, you might recall from videos for like the last 2 years of riding on Montezuma that there has been a lot of construction just beyond this traffic light here, and they were building two apartment complexes side by side, just about, and the crews were overlapping. The one that we're going to pass first started first, and then on the far corner completed later. But I think that they're complete. I think that I saw 4 leasing signs outside of both places, which means that this stretch that we're on right now hopefully won't be taken up by construction vehicles. Which, you know, I mean, they were okay. They were here so regularly that I think we really got used to them. No construction vehicles, but trash truck in the lane. You'd think that they would build these buildings in such a way that trash could be picked up from them. When they build them, they know that people are going to throw things away, right? Maybe we could start thinking about how we can actually design buildings so that services can be provided for it without compromising the safety of other people. It's good to be back on Montezuma. It's good to be back on the commute. We'll see some familiar routes in the coming months, but that's just being the squeaky wheel. And I'm going to listen to that squeaking while we keep going, and I am going to drive less and ride a bike. Thanks so much for joining.